Have you ever imagined a country where reality feels more like a dream than the world you know? A land where ancient emperors built armies to guard their afterlife. Mountains float above the clouds. Rivers reflect landscapes that look unreal, and colors explode across entire mountain ranges like nature itself went wild with a paintbrush. Welcome to China, the land of surreal wonders that will shock your mind and awaken your imagination. From the towering Great Wall stretching endlessly across mountains to hidden valleys painted in rainbow hues, this journey will take you beyond the ordinary into places you never thought were real. Stay with us, because what you're about to see is not just travel, it's a world that defies belief. Imagine standing on a wall so vast that it disappears into the horizon, climbing mountains, crossing deserts, and stretching farther than your eyes can follow. A wall built by millions of hands, shaped by centuries of ambition, fear, and power. This is not just a wall. This is the Great Wall of China, one of the most surreal wonders ever created by humanity. And the story behind it is just as incredible as the view from its towers. The Great Wall is not a single wall, but a massive system of walls, watchtowers, and fortresses that runs across northern China for more than 20,000 kilometers. From high mountain ridges to deep valleys and endless plains, the wall follows the natural shape of the land like a giant stone dragon. Standing on top of it, you feel small. The world stretches out beneath you, and history feels alive under your feet. The story of the Great Wall began more than 2,000 years ago, when ancient Chinese states built walls to protect themselves from invading armies. Over time, different dynasties expanded and strengthened the wall, turning it into one of the greatest defensive systems in history. The most famous sections we see today were built during the Ming Dynasty, when China faced constant threats from the north. Every brick, every tower, and every step tells a story of survival and determination. But the Great Wall is also a story of human sacrifice. Millions of workers, soldiers, and prisoners were forced to build it under harsh conditions. Many lost their lives while carrying heavy stones, digging foundations, and working in freezing winters and scorching summers. Legends say that the wall is haunted by the spirits of those who never returned home. One famous tale speaks of a woman who searched for her husband and cried so much that part of the wall collapsed, revealing his body. Whether myth or reality, these stories remind us that this wonder was built with both strength and suffering. Today, the Great Wall is one of the most visited landmarks on Earth. Some sections are fully restored, with stone pathways, railings, and cable cars that make it easy for travelers to explore. Other sections remain wild and untouched, where the wall crumbles into the landscape and nature slowly reclaims it. Walking on these remote parts feels like stepping back in time, where silence replaces crowds and history surrounds you on every side. The views from the Great Wall are breathtaking. In the mountains, the wall rises and falls like waves, surrounded by forests, cliffs, and mist. In the desert, it cuts through sand dunes like a line drawn by giants. In the plains, it stretches straight across the land, showing just how massive and ambitious this project was. At sunrise, the wall glows golden under the rising sun. At sunset, it turns deep red as the sky fades into night. Every moment feels cinematic, like a scene from a movie. Beyond its military purpose, the Great Wall became a symbol of China's identity and strength. It represents the unity of a civilization that endured for thousands of years. It shows what humans can achieve when they work together on a massive scale. And it reminds us that even the most powerful empires were built by ordinary people with extraordinary determination. As you walk along the wall, you pass watchtowers, where soldiers once stood guard, scanning the horizon for enemies. You see narrow staircases, steep slopes, and hidden passages designed for defense. You can imagine messengers lighting signal fires to warn of incoming armies, sending messages across hundreds of kilometers in just hours. The wall was not just a barrier, it was a communication network, a military base, and a symbol of power. Yet, the Great Wall is also a place of peace today. Travelers from around the world come to hike, take photos, and feel the weight of history. Some walk for hours through quiet mountain sections, listening only to the wind. Others explore popular sections near Beijing, where the wall feels alive with visitors, laughter, and stories from every corner of the world. No matter where you stand, the wall connects you to centuries of human history. The Great Wall of China is more than stone and bricks. It is a monument to ambition, resilience, and the human spirit. It is proof that civilizations rise, struggle, and leave behind wonders that inspire future generations. And as you look out from its towers, watching the land stretch endlessly beneath you, you realize why this wall shocked the world. It is not just a wonder of China, it is a wonder of humanity. And this is only the beginning of our journey. Because China is filled with landscapes and mysteries that feel unreal, places that look like they belong on another planet. So stay with us as we move beyond the wall and into a world of floating mountains, hidden valleys, ancient armies, and futuristic cities. The wonders of China are just getting started. Imagine looking up and seeing mountains that seem to float in the sky, tall stone pillars rising straight out of the earth and disappearing into mist. Peaks so surreal that they inspired the landscapes of another world. This is not a fantasy movie set. This is Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, one of the most unbelievable places on Earth, and a wonder that shocked travelers, scientists, and filmmakers alike. Zhangjiajie is located in the Hunan province of China, and it feels like stepping into a dream. Thousands of sandstone pillars rise from the forest floor, some reaching more than 1,000 meters into the sky. These towering columns were shaped by millions of years of erosion, as wind, rain, and time slowly carved the rock into vertical giants. When clouds and fog roll through the valley, the mountains appear to float, creating an illusion that feels otherworldly. This is the place that inspired the floating mountains in the movie Avatar. When the film was released, many people thought the landscapes were entirely fictional. But Zhangjiajie proved that nature can be more imaginative than any computer-generated world. One of the peaks was even renamed Avatar Hallelujah Mountain after the movie, becoming a global symbol of surreal, natural beauty. Walking through Zhangjiajie feels like entering a hidden world. Dense forests cover the valley floor, filled with rare plants, birds, and wildlife. The air is cool and fresh, and the sound of wind moving through the trees creates a peaceful atmosphere. As you climb higher, the forest opens up, revealing dramatic cliffs and deep ravines. Every turn offers a new viewpoint, each more breathtaking than the last. One of the most famous experiences here is walking across the glass bridge, suspended high above a deep canyon. This bridge is one of the longest and highest glass bridges in the world. Standing on transparent glass, with nothing but air beneath your feet, is both terrifying and thrilling. Looking down, you see the forest far below, and the pillars rising around you like a stone forest. It's a moment that makes your heart race and your mind feel small in the presence of nature. Cable cars and elevators take visitors high into the mountains, offering panoramic views that feel unreal. The Beilong elevator, built into the side of a cliff, is one of the tallest outdoor elevators in the world. In just minutes, it takes you from the forest floor to the top of the pillars, revealing a completely different world above the clouds. From the viewpoints, you can see endless peaks fading into the distance, creating a landscape that feels infinite. Zhangjiajie is not just beautiful during the day. At sunrise, the mountains glow with golden light as the sun rises above the clouds. The mist slowly moves through the valleys, creating waves of white that flow between the peaks. At sunset, the sky turns orange and purple, and the pillars become dark silhouettes against the fading light. At night, the park becomes quiet and mysterious, with stars shining above the silent giants of stone. This region is also rich in culture and history. Local ethnic minorities have lived in these mountains for centuries, developing unique traditions, music, and architecture. Their villages are surrounded by forests and cliffs, blending naturally into the landscape. Visiting these communities offers a glimpse into a life deeply connected to nature, where mountains are not just scenery, but part of daily existence. Zhangjiajie reminds us how powerful time and nature can be. These pillars were not built by humans, but shaped by slow, patient forces over millions of years. Each crack, each curve, and each tower is the result of erosion and geological change. Standing among them, you realize how small human history is compared to the age of the Earth. For travelers, Zhangjiajie is more than a destination. It is an experience that feels unreal, a place where reality looks like fantasy. It challenges your imagination and changes the way you see landscapes. It proves that the world is still full of wonders that can shock and inspire us. And this is just one surreal chapter of China. Beyond these floating mountains, there are rivers that carve poetic landscapes, ancient armies buried underground, sacred peaks above the clouds, and cities that look like they belong in the future. So stay with us, because the wonders of China are only getting more astonishing. Imagine a river so calm that it looks like a mirror, reflecting towering mountains that rise like giant sculptures from the earth. A landscape so poetic that ancient artists painted it for centuries, and modern travelers still struggle to believe it is real. This is Guilin and the Li River, one of the most surreal and beautiful wonders in China, a place that feels like a living painting. Guilin is located in southern China, in the Guangxi region, and it is famous for its karst mountains. These limestone peaks rise sharply from the ground, shaped by millions of years of erosion. Unlike normal mountains, they stand alone, forming dramatic cones and pillars that look almost designed by an artist. Some are tall and sharp, others are rounded and smooth, but together they create a landscape unlike anywhere else in the world. The Li River flows gently through this landscape, winding between the peaks and villages. The water is clear and calm, reflecting the sky and mountains so perfectly that it often looks like two worlds stacked on top of each other. Traveling along the Li River feels slow and peaceful. Bamboo rafts and small boats glide across the water, allowing you to take in the scenery without any rush. Every bend in the river reveals a new view, more beautiful than the last. This region has inspired poets, painters, and travelers for thousands of years. Ancient Chinese paintings often featured the mountains of Guilin, and even modern Chinese banknotes display this scenery. It is considered one of the most iconic landscapes in the country, a symbol of harmony between nature and human life. Standing here, you understand why artists believe this place was touched by something divine. Along the river, small villages sit quietly at the base of the mountains. Farmers work in rice fields, fishermen guide their boats, and water buffalo walk slowly through the fields. Life here feels calm and timeless, as if the modern world never arrived. At sunrise, mist rises from the river and wraps around the peaks, creating a dreamy scene that feels almost magical. At sunset, the sky turns orange and pink, and the reflections on the water create a perfect painting of light and color. One of the most famous experiences in Guilin is cruising from Guilin City to Yangshuo, a town known for its relaxed atmosphere and stunning views. The cruise takes several hours, but every minute feels special. You pass dramatic cliffs, bamboo forests, caves, and distant villages. Sometimes you see fishermen using traditional methods with birds, a practice that has existed for generations. Watching them work against the backdrop of karst peaks feels like stepping into a historical painting. The caves around Guilin are another wonder. Inside these caves, nature has created massive chambers filled with stalactites and stalagmites, illuminated by colorful lights. The shapes look like dragons, waterfalls, and ancient temples made of stone. Walking through these caves feels like exploring an underground fantasy world carved by time and water. Guilin is also known for its unique culture and traditions. Ethnic minorities live in the surrounding areas, each with their own language, clothing, and festivals. Their villages are built with wooden houses and terraces that blend into the mountains. Music, dance, and handcrafted art are still part of daily life. Visiting these communities offers a deeper connection to the land and the people who have lived in harmony with it for centuries. Nature here changes with the seasons. In spring, the fields are bright green and flowers bloom across the hills. In summer, the river is full and the mountains are covered in thick vegetation. In autumn, the fields turn golden and the air becomes cool and crisp. In winter, mist and fog make the landscape mysterious and quiet. Every season creates a different version of this wonder. Guilin and the Li River remind us that beauty does not always come from massive structures or modern technology. Sometimes it comes from slow rivers, quiet villages, and mountains shaped by time. This is a place that teaches you to slow down, to observe, and to feel connected to nature. For travelers, Guilin is not just a destination. It is a moment of peace, a scene from a dream, and a reminder of how stunning our planet can be. It is a wonder that feels unreal, yet it exists, waiting to be explored. And as we continue this journey through China, we will move from poetic rivers to buried armies, from poetic rivers to buried armies, from sacred cities to futuristic skylines. The wonders ahead are even more astonishing, and the story of China is far from over. Imagine a massive army hidden underground for more than 2,000 years. Thousands of life-size soldiers standing in silence, each with a unique face frozen in time. A discovery so shocking that it changed history and stunned the world. This is the Terracotta Army of Xi'an, one of the greatest archaeological wonders ever found, and a surreal glimpse into the power of ancient China. The Terracotta Army was buried to guard China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, in the afterlife. When he unified China over 2,000 years ago, he believed that his power should continue beyond death. Instead of sacrificing real soldiers, he ordered an entire army to be created from clay. What he left behind is something no one could have imagined in its scale and detail. In 1974, local farmers digging a well accidentally uncovered the first terracotta soldier. What started as a simple search for water became one of the most important archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. As scientists began excavating the area, they realized they had found an entire army buried beneath the earth. Thousands of soldiers, horses, chariots, and weapons were revealed, arranged in battle formation as if ready to march into eternity. Each soldier is life-sized, and no two faces are exactly the same. Some look young, others older. Some look young, others older. Some have calm expressions, while others look fierce and determined. Their hairstyles, armor, and facial features reflect different ranks and roles, from generals to infantrymen. This level of detail is astonishing, especially considering it was created more than 2,000 years ago without modern technology. The army is divided into massive pits, each designed like a battlefield. Rows of soldiers stand in formation, facing east, as if protecting the emperor from enemies. Wooden chariots and horses were once included, along with real bronze weapons. Many of these weapons are still sharp today, showing the advanced craftsmanship of ancient Chinese engineers. Walking through the Terracotta Army site feels like stepping into a time machine. You stand on platforms overlooking the pits, looking down at thousands of silent figures. The scale is overwhelming. It's hard to believe that all of this was buried for centuries, hidden from the world. The atmosphere is quiet and powerful, as if the soldiers are still guarding their emperor in silence. The mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang lies nearby, still largely unexcavated. Ancient texts describe a massive underground palace filled with treasures, rivers of mercury, and traps designed to protect the tomb. Scientists believe the tomb remains sealed to preserve its contents, adding to the mystery. The idea that an entire underground world still lies hidden beneath the earth makes this site even more surreal. The Terracotta Army is not just a display of power, but also a reflection of ancient beliefs. The emperor believed in an afterlife where he would continue to rule, and this army was meant to ensure his dominance. It shows how deeply people believed in life beyond death, and how far rulers were willing to go to secure their legacy. Over time, the terracotta figures have become a symbol of China's ancient civilization and artistic achievement. They show the advanced skills of ancient craftsmen, from sculpting and painting to metalworking and engineering. Originally, the soldiers were painted in bright colors, but most of the paint faded when exposed to air. Scientists are still working to preserve the remaining colors, revealing how vibrant this army once looked. Today, the Terracotta Army attracts millions of visitors from around the world. People come to see the silent warriors, to imagine the ancient world, and to feel the presence of history. Standing in front of these figures, you realize how powerful human ambition can be, and how history can sleep beneath the earth for centuries before being discovered again. This wonder reminds us that the past is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. It shows that civilizations rise, leave their mark, and disappear, but their stories remain hidden in the ground, waiting for someone to find them. Imagine a city built for emperors, hidden behind towering red walls and golden gates, where ordinary people were forbidden to enter for centuries. A place where power, mystery, and luxury existed behind closed doors, and every stone carried secrets of dynasties, betrayal, and glory. This is the Forbidden City, the imperial heart of China, and one of the most surreal historical wonders in the world. The Forbidden City is located in the center of Beijing and was the home of Chinese emperors for almost 500 years. It was built in the early 15th century during the Ming Dynasty and later became the seat of power for the Qing Dynasty. For generations, this vast palace complex was the center of political and cultural life in China. No common citizen could enter without permission, which is why it was called the Forbidden City. Covering more than 700,000 square meters, the Forbidden City is one of the largest palace complexes on Earth. It contains nearly 1,000 buildings, thousands of rooms, and countless courtyards, halls, and gardens. The architecture is designed with perfect symmetry, reflecting ancient Chinese beliefs about balance order, and harmony. Every detail, from the colors to the layout, was chosen to symbolize power and the emperor's connection to heaven. As you walk through the massive gates, you enter a world of imperial grandeur. Golden roofs shine under the sunlight, red walls stretch endlessly, and marble courtyards open into grand ceremonial halls. The Hall of Supreme Harmony, the largest hall in the complex, was where emperors held ceremonies, received officials, and announced important decisions. Standing inside this hall, you can imagine the sound of drums, the movement of robes, and the presence of absolute authority. The Forbidden City was not just a palace. It was a city within a city. Thousands of people lived and worked here, including officials, servants, guards, and members of the imperial family. Life inside the palace was filled with strict rules, rituals, and traditions. Every movement of the emperor was planned. Every ceremony followed precise protocols, and every action carried symbolic meaning. Behind the grand halls were the private quarters of the emperor and his family. These areas were more intimate, with beautiful gardens, pavilions, and living spaces. Empresses, concubines, and princes lived in these hidden sections, where political alliances, rivalries, and dramas unfolded. Many stories and legends speak of love, jealousy, and power struggles that shape the course of Chinese history. The design of the Forbidden City reflects deep spiritual and cultural beliefs. The layout follows ancient principles of feng shui, aligning with the cardinal directions and the flow of energy. The use of yellow tiles symbolized the emperor, while dragons and phoenixes represented power and prosperity. Even the number of statues on the rooftops and the placement of doors had symbolic meaning, making the entire city a massive expression of philosophy and belief. For centuries, the Forbidden City was the most powerful place in China. Emperors ruled the vast empire from these halls, issuing decrees that affected millions of people. Foreign envoys traveled from distant lands to bow before the emperor, bringing gifts and seeking favor. The palace was a symbol of China's strength, wealth, and sophistication. When the last emperor left the palace in the early 20th century, the Forbidden City entered a new era. Today, it is known as the Palace Museum and is open to visitors from around the world. Millions of people walk through its gates each year, exploring its halls, gardens, and treasures. Inside, you can see ancient artifacts, imperial robes, paintings, and objects that once belonged to emperors and empresses. Walking through the Forbidden City feels like walking through history itself. You can feel the weight of centuries in the stone pathways and wooden beams. You can imagine the footsteps of emperors, the whispers of courtiers, and the echoes of grand ceremonies. Every corner tells a story of power, tradition, and human ambition. The Forbidden City is not just a palace, it is a symbol of China's imperial past and cultural heritage. It shows how architecture, art, and politics came together to create one of the most complex and influential civilizations in history. It reminds us that behind every grand structure are human stories of ambition, fear, love, and legacy. Imagine standing on the roof of the world, where the air is thin, the sky feels closer, and the mountains touch the heavens. A land of snow peaks, silent monasteries, and ancient prayers carried by the wind. This is Tibet and the Himalayas, one of the most surreal and spiritual wonders on Earth, a place that feels more like another dimension than part of our world. Tibet lies high on a vast plateau, surrounded by some of the tallest mountains on the planet. Here, the Himalayas rise like a giant wall of ice and rock, crowned by Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth. The landscape is extreme and breathtaking, with endless valleys, frozen lakes, and snow-covered peaks stretching as far as the eye can see. Standing here, you feel the power of nature in its purest form. The Himalayas are more than just mountains. They are a symbol of endurance, mystery, and human courage. Climbers from around the world come here to challenge themselves, to stand on the highest peaks, and to face nature at its most powerful. The journey is dangerous, the weather is unpredictable, and the altitude is unforgiving. Yet, people continue to come, drawn by the dream of touching the sky. Tibet is also known as a spiritual center of the world. For centuries, it has been home to Tibetan Buddhism, a tradition filled with rituals, meditation, and deep philosophical teachings. Monasteries sit on cliffs and mountainsides, painted in bright colors and filled with chanting monks. The sound of prayer wheels spinning and bells ringing creates an atmosphere that feels peaceful and timeless. One of the most iconic places in Tibet is the Potala Palace in Lhasa, This massive palace rises above the city, like a fortress of faith and power. Once the home of the Dalai Lama, it contains thousands of rooms, chapels, and treasures. Inside, you find golden statues, ancient scriptures, and murals that tell stories of spiritual journeys and enlightened masters. Walking through its corridors feels like stepping into a sacred world untouched by time. The people of Tibet live in harmony with this harsh yet beautiful environment. Nomads travel across the plateau with yaks and sheep, living in tents and moving with the seasons. Their lifestyle is simple, but deeply connected to nature and tradition. In villages, prayer flags flutter in the wind, carrying messages of peace, compassion, and wisdom across the mountains. Lakes in Tibet are another surreal wonder. Yamdrok Lake and Namso Lake shine in deep shades of blue, surrounded by snow-capped peaks. The water is so clear and still that it reflects the sky like a mirror. These lakes are considered sacred, and pilgrims travel long distances to walk around them in prayer. The silence here is profound, broken only by the wind and the distant sound of bells. The sky in Tibet is unlike anywhere else. At high altitude, the air is thin and clean, making the sky look deeper and more intense. During the day, the sun feels closer and brighter. At night, the stars fill the sky, creating a cosmic display that feels infinite. Looking up, you feel connected to the universe in a way that is hard to describe. Tibet is also a land of legends and mystery. Stories speak of hidden valleys, ancient monks with extraordinary knowledge, and spiritual practices passed down for centuries. Many believe Tibet holds secrets about consciousness, meditation, and the nature of reality itself. Whether myth or truth, this sense of mystery adds to the surreal atmosphere of the region. Despite its isolation, Tibet has influenced the world through its philosophy, art, and spiritual teachings. People from all over the globe travel here seeking peace, enlightenment, and a deeper understanding of life. The calm presence of monks, the rhythm of chanting, and the vastness of the landscape create an environment that invites reflection and inner silence. Tibet and the Himalayas remind us that there are places on Earth where nature and spirituality meet, where humans live in balance with extreme environments, and where silence can be more powerful than sound. It is a land that challenges the body, calms the mind, and awakens the soul. Imagine a place where lakes glow in unreal shades of blue and green, where waterfalls flow through forests like silver ribbons, and where every corner looks like a scene from a fantasy movie. A place so colorful and surreal that it feels digitally created, yet it is completely natural. This is Jiuzhaigou Valley, one of the most breathtaking wonders in China and one of the most beautiful landscapes on Earth. Jiuzhaigou is located in Sichuan province, hidden deep in the mountains. The name means Valley of Nine Villages, and for centuries, small Tibetan villages have lived quietly among these forests and lakes. Today, the valley is a protected national park and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, known for its crystal-clear lakes, dramatic waterfalls, and untouched nature. What makes Jiuzhaigou truly surreal is its water. The lakes here are famous for their intense colors, ranging from bright turquoise to deep emerald and sapphire blue. The water is so clear that you can see fallen trees, rocks, and plants beneath the surface, as if the lake were made of glass. Minerals and algae in the water reflect light in unique ways, creating colors that change with the sun, clouds, and seasons. One of the most famous lakes is Five Flower Lake, known for its multicolored patterns. From above, it looks like a giant piece of art painted by nature. Shades of blue, green, yellow, and even purple blend together, forming a scene that looks unreal. Another famous spot is Mirror Lake, where the surrounding mountains and forests reflect perfectly on the still water, creating a flawless, natural mirror. Waterfalls are everywhere in Jiuzhaigou. The most famous is Norilang Waterfall, one of the widest waterfalls in China. Instead of a single drop, water flows over a wide limestone terrace, creating countless streams that sparkle in the sunlight. During summer, the waterfall roars with power, while in winter, parts of it freeze into shimmering ice formations, turning the landscape into a frozen fantasy world. The forests of Jiuzhaigou are just as stunning. Tall pine trees, colorful leaves, and thick vegetation cover the mountains, creating a rich and vibrant environment. In autumn, the valley transforms into a sea of red, orange, and yellow, making it one of the most beautiful fall destinations in the world. The reflection of autumn colors on the lakes creates scenes that look like paintings. Wildlife also thrives in this protected area. Rare animals like giant pandas, golden monkeys, and many bird species live in the surrounding mountains and forests. Although they are rarely seen, knowing that such creatures exist in this untouched environment adds to the magic of the valley. Jiuzhaigou is not just about nature. The Tibetan villages in the valley add culture and history to the landscape. Wooden houses with colorful prayer flags, traditional clothing, and local festivals create a unique atmosphere. The people here have lived in harmony with nature for generations, respecting the land and its spiritual significance. Walking through Jiuzhaigou feels peaceful and calming. Wooden pathways and bridges allow visitors to explore the valley without disturbing the environment. The sound of flowing water, birds singing, and wind moving through the trees creates a natural soundtrack that feels therapeutic. Every step reveals a new viewpoint, a new lake, or a hidden waterfall, making the journey feel endless and exciting. The seasons completely change the character of Jiuzhaigou. In spring, flowers bloom and snow melts, filling the rivers and lakes. In summer, the valley is lush and green, with powerful waterfalls and vibrant colors. In autumn, the forests turn into a fiery mix of colors, reflecting beautifully on the lakes. In winter, snow covers the mountains, and ice forms on the waterfalls and lakes, creating a frozen fairy tale landscape. Jiuzhaigou reminds us that nature can be more colorful and artistic than anything humans create. It shows how light, water, minerals, and time can combine to form landscapes that look impossible. It is a place that challenges your senses and changes your idea of what is real. For travelers, Jiuzhaigou is not just a destination. It is a visual dream, a peaceful escape, and a reminder that our planet still holds places that feel untouched and magical. It is one of those rare locations where every photograph looks unreal, and every moment feels special. Imagine a city where the future feels like it has already arrived. Skyscrapers glowing with neon lights, robots delivering food, trains that move faster than planes, and streets where ancient temples stand beside glass towers. This is Shanghai, a surreal megacity that shocked the world with how fast and how far it has transformed, a symbol of modern China rising into the future. Shanghai is one of the largest and most futuristic cities on Earth. Located on China's eastern coast, it began as a small fishing village and grew into a global financial and technological powerhouse in just a few decades. Today, its skyline looks like a science fiction movie, filled with towers that seem to touch the clouds and lights that never sleep. The heart of Shanghai's futuristic image is Pudong, the modern financial district. Here, you'll find some of the tallest and most iconic skyscrapers in the world. The Shanghai Tower twists upward like a giant spiral. The Shanghai World Financial Center looks like a massive key in the sky. And the Jinmao Tower blends modern design with traditional Chinese architectural elements. At night, these buildings light up in every color imaginable, turning the skyline into a glowing digital cityscape. One of the most impressive experiences in Shanghai is riding the maglev train. This high-speed train uses magnetic levitation to float above the tracks, reaching speeds of over 400 kilometers per hour. The ride feels smooth, silent, and unreal, like gliding through the future. In just minutes, you travel distances that once took hours, showing how advanced transportation has become. But Shanghai is not just about the future. It is also a city of deep history and culture. Along the Bund, a famous waterfront promenade, colonial-era buildings stand proudly, showing the city's past as an international trading hub. Across the river, futuristic towers rise, creating a dramatic contrast between old and new. Walking along the Bund feels like traveling through time, with history on one side and the future on the other. Hidden among the skyscrapers are ancient temples, gardens, and traditional neighborhoods. The Yu Garden, with its classical Chinese design, bridges, ponds, and pavilions, feels like a peaceful oasis in the middle of the city. Narrow streets in old districts are filled with traditional shops, street food, and daily life that has existed for generations. This blend of tradition and modernity is what makes Shanghai truly unique. Technology is everywhere in Shanghai. Facial recognition systems, smart payments, automated stores, and delivery robots are becoming part of everyday life. People pay with their phones, order food with apps, and interact with AI-powered services. The city feels like a testing ground for the future of urban living, where digital and physical worlds merge. Shanghai's nightlife is another spectacle. Rooftop bars, clubs, and observation decks offer panoramic views of the glowing skyline. The city pulses with energy, music, and lights, creating an atmosphere that feels alive and unstoppable. From quiet tea houses to futuristic shopping malls, there is something for everyone, making the city both exciting and overwhelming. Food in Shanghai is a journey of its own. From street vendors selling dumplings and noodles to luxury restaurants serving modern fusion cuisine, the city offers flavors from all over China and the world. Watching chefs prepare delicate soup dumplings or tasting local dishes adds another layer to the Shanghai experience, connecting you to its culture through taste. Despite its modern image, Shanghai is still deeply connected to Chinese traditions. Festivals, temples, calligraphy, and art continue to thrive alongside skyscrapers and technology. This coexistence of ancient and futuristic elements makes the city feel surreal, like two worlds overlapping in one place. Shanghai represents the speed and ambition of modern China. In just a few decades, it transformed from a modest port city into a global metropolis that competes with the world's greatest cities. It shows what happens when tradition meets innovation and when a nation looks boldly toward the future. For travelers, Shanghai is not just a city. It is a vision of what tomorrow could look like. It is a place where the future feels real, where technology shapes daily life, and where history and innovation exist side by side. It is a wonder that shocks and inspires, proving that humanity is capable of building cities that feel like dreams. Imagine standing on a narrow glass bridge, thousands of feet above a deep mountain valley, with clouds drifting below your feet and the wind whispering through ancient stone pillars. It feels unreal, like you have stepped into a dream world where nature and imagination merge. In this chapter, we explore one of China's most surreal and breathtaking wonders, a place that has inspired movies, myths, and millions of travelers from around the world. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park is not just a forest. It is a fantasy landscape brought to life. Towering sandstone pillars rise straight from the ground like giant stone skyscrapers. Some are over 1,000 meters tall, shaped by millions of years of erosion, wind, and rain. When mist wraps around these pillars, they look like floating mountains suspended in the sky. This is why many people say Zhangjiajie looks like another planet. One of the most famous spots here is the Avatar Hallelujah Mountain. This pillar inspired the floating mountains in the movie Avatar. When you see it in real life, you understand why. The mountain stands alone, tall and majestic, surrounded by mist and forest, creating a scene that feels magical and impossible at the same time. Photographers wait for the perfect moment when the clouds roll in, turning the landscape into a sea of white, with peaks rising like islands. But Zhangjiajie is not only about mountains. It is also home to the world's longest and highest glass bridge, stretching across a deep canyon. Walking on this bridge is both thrilling and terrifying. The glass floor lets you see straight down to the rocky river far below. Every step feels like you are walking on air. Some visitors freeze in fear, while others laugh, jump, and take selfies. Either way, it is an experience you never forget. The park is also filled with dense forests, rare plants, and wildlife. You might spot monkeys, birds, and unique tree species that exist nowhere else. The air is fresh, cool, and filled with the sound of nature. Trails wind through valleys, beside streams, and up steep staircases carved into the mountains. Every turn reveals a new view that feels like a painting. Local legends say these mountains were once giants turned to stone by the gods. Others believe they are sacred pillars connecting the earth and the sky. For centuries, poets and artists have traveled here to find inspiration. Even today, many visitors say Zhangjiajie feels spiritual, as if the land itself has a soul. At sunrise, the mountains glow with golden light. At sunset, the sky turns orange and purple, and the pillars become dark silhouettes against the horizon. At night, the park becomes quiet and mysterious, with stars shining above and mist moving silently through the valleys. Zhangjiajie is more than a tourist destination. It is a reminder of how powerful and creative nature can be. It shows that our planet still holds places that feel untouched, unreal, and full of wonder. Imagine a place where the earth itself seems painted with impossible colors, where mountains glow in stripes of red, yellow, and orange, as if an artist spilled every pigment across the landscape. A place so surreal that photographs hardly capture its intensity. This is the Zhangye Danxia landform, one of China's most jaw-dropping natural wonders, a spectacle that shocks every visitor who sets eyes on it. Located in Gansu province, the Zhangye Danxia Mountains are part of a vast region of unique geological formations formed over millions of years. Layers of sandstone and minerals shifted, eroded, and folded by tectonic forces created mountains with sharp ridges, colorful stripes, and surreal peaks. Over time, wind, rain, and sunlight enhance the colors, painting the mountains in shades that seem almost unreal: vivid reds, deep oranges, soft yellows, and even occasional greens. The effect is a natural masterpiece that looks more like abstract art than Earth's own surface. Walking among these mountains feels like entering another dimension. The landscapes stretch endlessly, hills rolling in rhythmic waves, peaks jutting into the sky like jagged sculptures. From certain viewpoints, the mountains resemble giant waves frozen in motion. From others, they appear like stacked blocks of colored stone, glowing under the sun. Every angle, every light shift, creates a completely different scene, making it feel like the mountains are alive, constantly changing before your eyes. The best way to experience the full beauty of Zhangye Danxia is to hike the trails and explore the viewpoints. Wooden walkways guide visitors across narrow ridges, winding past cliffs and valleys, allowing breathtaking panoramic views. Sunrise and sunset are magical here. As the sun rises, the colors intensify, golden light illuminating red and orange peaks. At sunset, the mountains become fiery silhouettes, reflecting in small pools of water like living paintings. Photographers and travelers alike spend hours capturing the perfect shot, yet no image can truly convey the vibrancy of the landscape. This region is not only a visual wonder, but also a geological treasure. Scientists study Zhangye Danxia to understand how mineral deposits, erosion, and tectonic activity shape such extraordinary landforms. The layers of stone record millions of years of Earth's history, making these mountains a living archive of geological time. Every fold, ridge, and color band tells a story of patience, pressure, and transformation. Zhangye Danxia is more than mountains. It is a place of contrast. Valleys cradle tiny villages and streams, while cliffs soar to heights that seem impossible. Seasonal changes transform the scenery completely. In summer, the mountains are vivid and dramatic. In winter, snow softens the colors, giving a quiet, mystical feeling. Clouds drift through narrow passes, creating illusions that peaks float above the land. This constant shift makes each visit unique, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Walking along the trails, it's impossible not to feel humbled. Nature here has outdone human imagination. The vibrant colors, the jagged ridges, the endless waves of peaks, everything seems designed to shock the senses. Yet, the mountains are silent witnesses to time, patiently standing while civilizations rise and fall in the valleys below. The experience reminds travelers of their place in the world, tiny against the scale and beauty of nature. Beyond the visual spectacle, Zhangye Danxia is a spiritual experience. Many visitors describe a sense of calm and awe that washes over them, as if the mountains are communicating something ancient and profound. The vivid colors, the quiet valleys, and the dramatic ridges create an atmosphere where imagination can wander freely, inspiring creativity and reflection. Tourism has allowed more people to experience these mountains, with well-designed pathways, viewing platforms, and visitor centers. Yet, the region remains wild and largely untouched, preserving the raw power of the landscape. Travelers walk in silence, taking in the surreal views, knowing that they are witnessing something rare and precious, a corner of the world where nature's creativity surpasses anything humanity has ever built. Zhangye Danxia is a reminder that the Earth still holds places that can shock the world, landscapes that challenge perception, and wonders that feel almost impossible. It is a vivid testament to the beauty, patience, and unpredictability of nature. Standing among these mountains, you feel small, humbled, and inspired all at once. A final, breathtaking chapter in the journey through China's surreal wonders. Imagine a landscape that looks so unreal it could only exist in dreams. Mountains rise in jagged layers of red, orange, yellow, and green, their peaks twisting and turning like ribbons frozen in time. Valleys stretch between these colorful giants, dotted with small streams and reflective pools that double the colors of the sky. This is the Zhangye Danxia landform, a place where nature paints with bold strokes, a surreal masterpiece that shocks everyone who witnesses it in person. Located in the arid plains of Gansu province, these mountains are a result of millions of years of geological activity. Layers of sandstone and minerals were deposited, compressed, and folded by tectonic forces. Over time, wind and rain sculpted the mountains into sharp ridges, cliffs, and plateaus, each layer showing different hues depending on its composition. Sunlight intensifies the colors, creating a spectacle that is impossible to replicate artificially. When clouds and fog drift through the peaks, some of the mountains appear to float above the earth, adding to their ethereal beauty. The experience of walking among the Danxia Mountains is unforgettable. Elevated wooden walkways wind across steep cliffs, guiding travelers along paths that reveal breathtaking vistas at every turn. Each viewpoint provides a new perspective. Jagged ridges stretching endlessly, valleys glowing with warm light, and distant peaks fading into mist. From sunrise to sunset, the colors shift dramatically. Early morning light casts long shadows, highlighting the contours of the ridges, while the setting sun bathes the mountains in deep reds and golds, as if the earth itself is on fire. The Zhangye Danxia is also home to fascinating geological formations. Some peaks are shaped like giant waves, some resemble stacks of colored blocks, and others appear as if carved by invisible hands into surreal sculptures. Scientists study these formations to understand the effects of erosion and mineral deposits over millions of years, revealing a natural process that combines time, pressure, and patience to create landscapes of unimaginable beauty. Every crack, fold, and ridge tells a story of the Earth's history, a narrative written in stone and color. One of the most remarkable aspects of Zhangye Danxia is how it changes with the seasons. In summer, the colors are vibrant and rich, with sunlight highlighting every hue. In winter, a layer of frost or snow softens the reds and oranges, creating a muted, mystical palette. During cloudy or misty days, peaks disappear and reappear from the fog, making it feel as if the mountains themselves are alive, breathing and shifting. The constantly changing scenery ensures that no two visits are ever the same. Visitors often find themselves in awe at the scale of the landscape. From the highest viewpoints, you can see ridges stretching into the distance, the colors blending seamlessly into the horizon. Streams and small lakes reflect the sky, creating mirror images of the mountains and amplifying their surreal beauty. Hiking along the trails, one cannot help but feel both exhilarated and humbled, aware of how small we are in comparison to the grandeur of nature. Zhangye Danxia is not only a visual wonder, but also a source of inspiration. Many artists, photographers, and travelers describe a sense of awe and creativity when standing among the mountains. The vibrancy of the colors, the dramatic shapes, and the scale of the landscape awaken imagination, encouraging visitors to think beyond the ordinary and experience a deeper connection with the natural world. Even with modern tourism, the area remains relatively untouched. Carefully designed walkways and observation platforms allow visitors to experience the mountains without damaging the fragile environment. Local communities maintain the region, ensuring that the land remains pristine for future generations. The sense of isolation and wilderness adds to the surreal quality of the landscape, making every moment feel like stepping into another world. The Zhangye Danxia landform is a reminder of the power, patience, and artistry of nature. Unlike human creations, these mountains are not constrained by design rules. They follow the whims of time, wind, and water, resulting in a landscape that feels both chaotic and harmonious. Every ridge, every peak, every color is a testament to the Earth's ability to surprise and inspire. As we stand at the edge of these vibrant cliffs, gazing across a valley painted in impossibly bright hues, it becomes clear why this is one of China's most shocking wonders. The experience leaves travelers speechless, a combination of beauty, awe, and humility. And as our journey through China's surreal landscapes draws closer to its conclusion, Zhangye Danxia reminds us that the natural world still holds places that challenge perception, defy imagination, and leave a permanent mark on those who witness them. The story of China's wonders continues beyond mountains and rivers, past ancient cities and sacred valleys. Zhangye Danxia is the perfect place to reflect on the power of nature, the passage of time, and the boundless creativity that exists in the world around us. It is a fitting finale, a vibrant, living masterpiece that solidifies China's place as a land of astonishing, Surreal beauty. As our journey through China's most surreal wonders comes to an end, one thing becomes clear. This is a land of contrasts, where the ancient and the futuristic, the mystical and the tangible, coexist in breathtaking harmony. From floating mountains and crystal-clear rivers to hidden armies and rainbow-colored peaks, China challenges what you think is possible and reminds you of the sheer power and beauty of our world. These wonders don't just inspire awe, they lead